What's up? It's Dobay here with Tuned Up. I'm at AUDIOFEED. I'm here with Chris from Adjy.
Adjy, yeah.
How does Tennessee, how does living there influence your music?
It actually influenced it a lot. I think between the Midwest and Tennessee's summer, specifically the roadside weeds, the way that the plants grow, I'd say the flora and fauna definitely influenced it a lot. The linear story is I grew up in Central Florida, moved to North Carolina, but between then did a lot of touring in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And so I'd say that a lot of my, I guess, fixations on the Midwest are from having idyllic experiences on the road there.
Can you describe one of your idyllic experiences on the road?
A music festival much like this.
Yeah, you were at AUDIOFEED last year, right? So
Yep.
How is it different this year?
A lot has changed, I think, for the better. I actually had several conversations with Kevin Schlereth.
The guy who runs it.
Yeah,
he's great.
Like piecemealed throughout this past year and the year before that, just about some ideas for AUDIOFEED, and it seems like they've implemented a lot of really cool ones.
That's great.
Downsizing in the right areas and then focusing on the right things.
Your music is more like indie folk. What are your influences?
Oh man, I have, no lie, been afraid of this question. I have had, you know how you have
really?
conversations in your head before you have conversations with people? I've thought about potential on-the-fly interviews where people ask me, what are your musical influences? And I would just freak, because a lot of them are more film. The American composer Aaron Copland comes to mind. He didn't do a film, but people like Hans Zimmer, John Williams. A lot of what I ended up studying specifically for Adjy music ended up being how to concisely tell story versus how to put melody and rhythm together.
Yeah, that's the basis of folk music is telling a great story.
Yeah.
What are some stories that you have to tell?
When you meet a lot of people, you can start noticing similarities between those people. There are patterns that you can observe. Eventually you can start rank ordering those patterns into things like archetypes. Those would manifest in things like characters and stories. So like the example I always use is you have something like the lovable scoundrel. That's Han Solo, that's Aladdin, that's Indiana Jones, etc. I don't know why 2/3 of that are played by Harrison Ford.
So are you the archetype in your songs, or are you writing about these characters?
A little bit of both. The reason I mention the archetypes is because at some point in trying to express my own story, noticing certain things that seemed to express that story in existing stories and myths and like scriptures, that there were these through lines I was attracted to try to express the things I was experiencing. A probably more concrete example would be something like psychology, that when you're interacting with certain people, you notice certain patterns. You might just think that maybe that conversation was weird, but you don't know why. You study psychology, you start noticing that there are certain patterns that manifest in the behaviors that you're observing.
Yeah.
Knowing those names can help make you feel a little bit less lost in the situation.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know what temperature is and you walk into a room and you feel something different, it's not until you know and understand what temperature is that you can kind of ground
context.
yourself. Yeah, and you can, context is a good phrase for this. You can put yourself in location. You know how to locate yourself. So in story, one of the hopes, to answer your question about what kind of stories I wanted to tell, I don't know if I up front wanted to quote unquote tell a story as much as I wanted to understand what I was experiencing.
Yeah.
And part of that understanding what I was experiencing, similarly to I think what draws a lot of people to something like psychology, is I want to understand what's happening.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
you're inspired by a lot of deep things and you're inspired by having a deeper understanding.
I suppose. Yeah, I'd like to know what's going on.
Yeah, that's great.
So that I can stop making the same mistakes. And then I think one of the things that I'm hoping for in story, and I think humans are hoping for in story, is that maybe we stop making the same mistakes.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
It was great to meet you.
Yeah, you as well.